Shocking discovery, Millionaire exposes heartwarming truth about his daughter and the amazing maid. Tom Bennett had it all: money, power, and a picture-perfect family life in their sprawling New Jersey home. He looked like the king of a suburban castle, complete with a manicured lawn and a driveway full of luxury cars. Yet, Tom's greatest treasure wasn't his empire, it was his 18-year-old daughter, Emily. To him, she was a shining light. But beneath the surface, Tom was fighting a quiet battle, constricted by the weight of high expectations and relentless ambition. As summer faded, and Emily prepared for her big journey to university, Tom felt a tightening grip around his heart. He watched her walk through the floral backdrop in their garden, her laughter dancing on the breeze. Yet, as their conversations grew strained, Tom noticed he was forcing a smile while Emily was yearning for something deeper: an authentic connection amidst the artificiality that surrounded their affluent lifestyle. It was during one bright afternoon, while she helped Rosa, their loyal maid, trim the vibrant flowers, that Emily discovered a friend in the unlikeliest place. Rosa was a simple soul, a single mother from the next town over, humble yet resilient. They shared moments that sparked joy. Cooking traditional meals smelled of love, and laughter echoed through the hallways as they watched movies together. In her steady presence, Emily felt a sense of peace that money could never buy. But fate had a twist in store. One day, while rummaging through her father's study, Emily stumbled upon an old photograph, crumpled and dusty, revealing a young Tom with a beloved maid from his past. The image shook her to the core. It told a story of hardship, determination, and an unbreakable bond that she'd never known existed. In that instant, Tom transformed from the intimidating corporate tycoon in her eyes to a man who once cherished the same warmth she felt with Rosa. Confusion flooded her mind. Would her father accept the friendship blossoming between her and Rosa? Before they could address the growing divide, a medical emergency struck their community. A nearby factory accident sent shockwaves through the town, prompting everyone, including Tom, to confront inequalities they had chosen to overlook. As townspeople gathered to provide support, Emily witnessed Rosa's unwavering compassion, volunteering and serving those in need without hesitation. In the chaos, Tom was torn between protecting his shielded daughter and allowing her to embrace the values that shaped the community and ultimately, himself. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As tension mounted between Emily and Tom, their conversations became a battlefield. Every word felt heavy. And then came the confrontation. Emily's frustrations unraveled her protective facade. You don't even see it, do you? Rosa is not just a maid, she exclaimed, her voice cracking. In that moment, Tom faced the unsettling truth about his parenting and the values he had held so dear. Standing at a crossroad, both father and daughter wrestled with the essence of family identity. Would Tom finally grasp the fact that worth and love transcended social standing? Would Emily have the courage to bridge the gap, healing the hurt that had taken root in silence? As they stood there, the air thick with uncertainty, questions lingered like shadows waiting to emerge in the surrendering light of understanding. The journey for both was only beginning, and the answers seemed tantalizingly out of reach. The days that followed the confrontation felt heavy. Emily's heart raced whenever she spotted her father around the house. It was like walking a tightrope. Every step was precarious, every interaction loaded with the weight of unspoken words. Tom, on his part, tried to dismiss the tension with forced laughter and casual remarks, but Emily could see right through it. She sensed his desire for reconciliation but couldn't shake the hurt that lingered from their last conversation. One evening, as the sun dipped low behind the trees, Emily found herself in the garden again. The flowers glowed with a silvery light, and the air was fragrant with possibilities. Rosa joined her, bringing a tray of freshly baked cookies. The scent of chocolate mingled with the aroma of soil, creating an intimate haven away from the world inside the house. Rosa's warm smile instantly erased Emily's worries. "Here, try these. They might lift your spirits," she said, handing over a cookie. Emily took a bite, the sweetness melting in her mouth, but it was Rosa's kindness that wrapped around her like a comforting blanket. "Can I ask you something?" Emily's voice was tentative. "Of course, Mija," Rosa encouraged, her eyes filled with understanding. "What did you see in Mr. Bennett all those years?" Emily hesitated, trying to articulate the swirl of thoughts in her head. Rosa paused, considering the question. "He was ambitious, like all of us. But he had something different, a spark that made people believe in him. Sometimes, just like the flowers, we forget what really matters when we reach for success." Emily's heart fluttered as she absorbed the wisdom in Rosa's words. Was it possible that her father had lost that spark in his pursuit of wealth? She began to wonder if the memory sealed in dust had shaped the man he had become today, but that night, something shifted in Tom as well. Alone in his bedroom, he rifled through old papers. The photograph of himself and the maid from his past stared back at him, and he felt a pang of nostalgia. He remembered a time when the world felt less complicated, when relationships were formed on the foundation of shared experiences rather than social standings. As he brought the picture to the light, Tom's mind raced. The values that Rosa had spoken of echoed in his consciousness. But how could he convey this to Emily? He couldn't bear the thought of straining their relationship further. Closing his eyes, he decided it was time to reveal the truths he'd buried deep. The following day, he caught Emily in the living room and took a deep breath, summoning his courage. "Emily, can we talk?" There was urgency in his voice, a hint of the father she needed. Emily looked up, surprised but hopeful. "About what?" "About Rosa," he said softly. "And what she means to you." Her heart raced at his words, anticipation thick in the air. This was a chance to understand what lay behind her father's facade, to share the bond they both felt with Rosa. "Okay," she replied, trepidation mixing with excitement. Tom motioned for her to join him on the couch, where the heart of their conversations would begin to weave the threads of family back together. As they settled in, Emily's thoughts danced with the uncertainty of what revelations awaited. Would Tom finally unveil the truth of his past? Would they bridge the gaping chasm that had formed between them? As the tension in the room thickened once more, a knock at the door interrupted them, causing both to glance up curiously. Who could it be? With hearts pounding, they exchanged questioning looks. The air was electric with unvoiced anticipation. What awaited them on the other side of that door? Tom's heart raced as he exchanged glances with Emily. The knock echoed in the silence, a loud reminder of the uncertainty hanging in the air. Who could it possibly be? "Should we?" Emily started, glancing toward the door. "Let me check," Tom replied, a mix of curiosity and dread coursing through him. He stood up slowly, wishing he could predict what lay beyond that door. When he opened it, a man in a dark suit stood before him. The expression etched on the stranger's face was serious, as if he carried heavy news. A brief flash of recognition passed between them. Tom remembered him as a business associate, someone from the past. "Mr. Bennett," the man said, adjusting his tie nervously. "I'm sorry to intrude. I hope I'm not interrupting anything important." Emily had wandered closer, peering around her father. The warmth of their earlier moment was slipping away, replaced by a chill of uncertainty. Tom stepped aside and gestured for the man to enter. "Not at all. What brings you here?" Tom asked, although he feared the answer. "We need to discuss the estate," the man said, his tone clipped. "There have been unsettling developments, news you need to hear." Emily frowned, confusion etching her features. She felt the air grow heavy as she noticed her father's expression tighten, every muscle in his body tensing. "Is this about the company?" Tom's voice had steadied, but she could sense the fear underneath. "It concerns your late father's will," the man replied, avoiding eye contact with Emily. There's something significant that might change everything. Tom swallowed hard. Memories flooded back: his father's stern face, the pressure of expectations, his mother crying quietly in the shadows. His hand gripped the door frame. He felt trapped in a past he had tried so hard to escape. "What do you mean?" Emily asked, her voice steadier than she felt. She stepped forward, electricity crackling between her and the man as she sought answers. "The will has been contested," he replied, the weight of his words bearing down. "Old friends of your father are claiming their share, but there's something else, a hidden clause that implicates you directly, Emily." Tom's heart dropped. He turned to Emily, who looked shocked, her confusion morphing into alarm. "What hidden clause?" she asked, her voice strong despite the tremor beneath. The man rubbed his forehead, appearing uncomfortable with what he was about to say. "It states that if your father were to pass, you would inherit everything. But there's more. It requires that you also reconcile with your father's past, people he's tried to forget." And Rosa, Emily's breath caught in her throat. Tom's gaze fell to the ground, the weight of unspoken truths pressing heavily on his heart. "Rosa?" Emily echoed, her mind racing. "Why would that matter?" The man shifted his weight. "She's part of it, whether he wants her to be or not. You might have to face the choices he made in order to protect you." Silence fell in the room like a heavy curtain. Emily's mind whirled, struggling to piece together what this meant for her and her father. Dread seeped into Tom's bones as he glanced at Emily through the veil of unfiltered eyes. If what the man had said was true, it would mean confronting the deepest secrets that had shaped their lives. "Is it really true that I can lose everything if we don't fix this?" Emily asked quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. Tom nodded slowly, the realization hitting him like a wave. The gulf between them was even wider than he had imagined. The time for truth had come, and there would be no turning back. As the man continued explaining the details, Emily felt a mix of fear and resolve. There was no way around the tangled web of her father's past. Just as Tom opened his mouth to say something to comfort her, a sudden loud crash echoed from the kitchen. They all froze, eyes wide with shock. "What was that?" Emily gasped, heart racing. "Let us find out," Tom said, an edge of determination creeping into his voice as he moved toward the noise. But facing the truth of their situation was one thing, confronting what lay hidden in the dark corners of their lives was another. What awaited them, both in the kitchen and the chapters ahead? Tom led the way into the kitchen, every step quick and cautious. The closer they got to the source of the noise, the more his heart hammered against his ribs. He could feel Emily's presence right behind him, tension radiating from her as anticipatory anxiety filled the air. As Tom swung open the kitchen door, he was met with a chaotic sight. Broken dishes lay scattered on the floor, remnants of a fight that hadn't been clean. The table had been overturned, and in the center of the commotion stood Rosa, their housekeeper, her hands raised as if to defend herself from the chaos around her. "What happened?" Tom demanded, taking in the scene before him. Rosa looked at him, panic etched across her face. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Bennett. I thought I saw someone outside the window. When I went to check, I tripped. I didn't mean to make such a mess." Emily stepped forward, her tone softer. "Are you okay, Rosa?" She looked genuinely concerned, willing to put aside the debacle for a moment to check on the woman who had cared for her since childhood. "Yes, I'm fine," Rosa replied, brushing her hands on her apron, her expression fraught with worry. "But I think we need to talk about what I saw." Tom frowned, knowing that whatever Rosa had seen was likely to overshadow the chaos of broken glass and porcelain. He felt a knot tighten in his stomach. "What did you see?" Rosa hesitated, glancing between Tom and Emily, weighing her words like an unseen scale. "I saw a figure in the backyard. I didn't recognize them," but she hesitated again, choosing her words with care. "They didn't seem to be just passing by. It felt intentional. They were watching the house." The room froze for a moment, the air thickening with an unseen dread. Tom's mind raced, considering the implications. Could it be someone from his father's past? Or had the unfolding drama over the will prompted an unwelcome visitor? "We need to know for sure if someone's out there," Emily said, her determination breaking through the nervous tension in the room. "Let us go check the backyard." Tom nodded, the urgency sparking a fire within him. They couldn't sit idly by. "All right. Let us stick together." They moved cautiously through the house, stepping over the shattered remnants of their previous tranquility. Each creaky floorboard felt like an alarm bell, alerting them to the silence that surrounded them. As they reached the back door, Tom paused. He glanced at Rosa. "Stay here, just in case." "Not a chance," she replied firmly, an unexpected resolve shining in her eyes. "If someone's out there, you'll need me too." With no further argument, Tom opened the door, exposing the backyard to them all. The fading light painted the yard in streaks of dusk, shadows stretching like fingers across the ground. As they stepped outside, the cool air wrapped around them, sharp and refreshing yet laden with an unseen tension. "Do you see anything?" Emily whispered, squinting into the shadowy corners of their yard. Tom scanned the area, his heart pounding in rhythm with his mounting unease. Suddenly, something flickered at the edge of the treeline, a silhouette against the darkening sky. It moved, just enough to catch the corner of his eye. "There." Tom pointed, prompting both women to turn their heads. "I think I saw something." Just as Tom stepped forward, the figure bolted deeper into the woods, disappearing into the veil of impending night. An instinctual rush of adrenaline surged through him. "Tom, wait!" Emily exclaimed, panic threading her voice. "What if it's dangerous?" But before he could respond, the remaining shadows of their peaceful lives began to crumble with each passing moment. The mysteries weren't just hidden in his father's past, they lurked right outside their door. "Do we go after them?" Tom asked, torn between fear and the need for answers. "Yes," Emily replied, her voice steady with resolve. "We have to know who it is, and why they're watching us." As they moved towards the treeline, an unsettling thought nestled itself in Tom's mind. Maybe it wasn't just about his father's past anymore. What if this was the beginning of a new chapter, one that threatened everything they had known? What awaited them once they crossed that threshold? The crunch of leaves underfoot filled the silence as Tom led the way into the darkness of the woods, Emily and Rosa close behind. Every snap echoed like a warning, heightening the tension that hung in the air around them. Tom's breath quickened, not just from the physical exertion but from the dread pooling in his stomach. "Stay close," he instructed, glancing back at Emily and Rosa, their faces illuminated by the waning light filtering through the branches. Their expressions were a mix of fear and determination. The woods around them felt alive, shadows shifting with their every step. Each rustle of a branch was amplified, making his heart race faster. What had they stumbled into? As they moved deeper, the woods seemed to swallow the fading daylight, leaving them cloaked in anxiety. "Do you really think someone was watching us?" Emily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know, but we have to find out," Tom replied. He felt the weight of her question, the unspoken fear behind it. What if it had been someone dangerous? The thought wormed its way into his mind. Suddenly, Tom spotted a broken branch on the ground ahead. It looked fresh, like it had been stepped on recently. He crouched beside it, running his fingers over the splintered edges. "Someone was definitely here," he murmured, looking up at the two women. "We're not alone." Rosa gasped, her eyes wide. "What if they come back?" "We'll cross that bridge when we get there," Emily said, her voice trembling slightly but steadying as she moved closer to Tom, as if drawing courage from his presence. Just then, a sound sliced through the underbrush, a soft, low rustle. Tom's heart leaped into his throat. He straightened, straining to see through the darkness ahead. "Did you hear that?" Before anyone could answer, a figure stepped into view, silhouetted against the dim twilight. Tom felt his heart stop for a moment. The figure was tall, clad in dark clothing, their features hidden in shadow. "Who's there?" Tom shouted, trying to disguise the quiver in his voice with bravado. The figure didn't answer, but began to retreat slowly, moving further into the trees. "Don't let them get away," Emily urged, glancing at Tom, her fear palpable. "Wait, Emily." He held her back when she began to follow. "We can't just run into the dark. We need a plan." Their debate was cut short as the figure turned and, with a speed that made Tom's blood run cold, dashed into the dense woods, disappearing behind the trees. The sound of hurried footsteps echoed in their ears. Tom was left grappling with the terror of the unknown. What now? He exhaled, still staring into the darkness. What if they know something about my dad, about us? "Tom," Rosa said, her voice calm but urgent. "We can't just stand here. We can't let whatever that is take our fear away. We have to take control." Tom nodded, steeling himself. "You're right. We need to get to the bottom of this." Before they could formulate their next move, a loud crash erupted from deeper in the woods, the sound of something heavy falling. What was that? Emily looked around wildly, the panic in her eyes unmistakable. Tom turned to find his resolve. "We have to see. It might be the person we saw." But in the pit of his stomach, uncertainty twisted. What if they weren't ready for what lay ahead? What if digging deeper brought more danger to their doorstep? And right then, deep in the woods, a whisper floated through the air. "You shouldn't have come here." Tom's heart raced as he faced the gathering clouds of uncertainty hanging over them. They were past the point of no return. What awaited them in the shadows was a question that could unravel everything they knew, but who was that voice calling from the depths of their fears? The air felt heavier, thick with a tension that made Tom's skin crawl. He turned towards the sound of the crash, heart pounding. "This place is alive with secrets," he muttered. The low whisper still lingered in his mind, feeding a growing sense of dread. Emily clutched Tom's arm, her grip tightening as if he were her lifeline. "Are we really going after whatever that was?" Her voice trembled, but beneath her fear was something else. Resolve. Tom nodded, his throat dry. "We have to know. We can't back down now." He took a deep breath, steadying his nerves. "Together, okay? We stick together no matter what." Rosa moved to his side, her expression fierce. "No turning back now, right? We'll figure this out." With a final glance back to where they'd come from, Tom steeled himself and took a cautious step forward. The darkness felt alive, pulsating with hidden energy, wrapping around them like a living shroud. As they delved deeper into the woods, branches scraped against their arms, whispering promises of danger. The air was ripe with the scent of damp earth, a mix of pine and decay that filled Tom's lungs. Each snap of a twig reverberated like a warning bell, each rustle of leaves sent their hearts racing. But through the fear, a spark of curiosity ignited within him. "Do you think we'll actually find anyone?" Emily whispered, her eyes darting around as if expecting something to jump out at her. "I don't know what we'll find," Tom replied, maintaining a brave facade. "But someone's out here, and I won't let them scare us away." Then came another crash, louder this time. It felt closer, vibrating through the ground beneath their feet. Tom's feet moved, instinctively drawn toward the sound, his heart pounding like a drum in his ears. "Wait," Rosa pulled him back gently. "What if it is dangerous?" "We can't let fear dictate our lives," he said, echoing Rosa's earlier words. "Whatever it is, we can handle it." They approached a clearing, the trees parting to reveal a massive oak fallen sideways, its bark broken and roots clawing at the earth. The sight sent a chill down Tom's spine. Something about it felt ominous. And yet, beside the fallen tree was a small object, glinting in the dim light. "Look!" Emily pointed, her finger trembling. "What is that?" Taking cautious steps, Tom edged closer, his eyes narrowing in the fading light. As he bent down to inspect it, his breath caught in his throat. It was a bracelet, twisted and tarnished, but unmistakably feminine, his mother's. What's wrong? Rosa asked, her voice laced with concern. Tom's mind raced, the reality of the moment slapping him awake. This was my mom's. How did it end up here? Emily gasped softly, stepping forward to examine the bracelet. But we don't know who was here. Is it connected to your dad somehow? The unease settled like a fog in Tom's chest. If his mother had been here, then the mystery surrounding his father surged back with a vengeance, stories he had never wanted to confront. No, he murmured, shaking his head slowly. But why? Why would she be out here? Before they could ponder further, a rustling nearby caught their attention. The shadowy figure they had seen earlier stepped into the clearing again, but this time, they didn't retreat. It's too late to turn back now, the figure said, their voice husky and low, sending shivers down Tom's spine. Who are you? Tom demanded, fear warring with anger as adrenaline coursed through him. The figure stepped closer, the outline sharpening as moonlight broke through the trees. I know what happened to your family and I can help you. Tom felt the weight of that statement crash over him, like a tidal wave of possibility and dread. What did that mean? How could this person know anything? Help us? Tom asked, fear creeping back in. Or lead us further into danger? Silence enveloped them as they all waited, suspended in anxiety, teetering on the edge of revelation. Make your choice, the figure urged, every word simmering with urgency. And just like that, under the watchful, ghostly trees, the stakes had never been higher. The figure stood there, cloaked in shadows, their presence unsettled yet captivating. Tom swallowed hard, weighing his options. His heart raced, pummeling against his chest as the night air hung thick with uncertainty. Why should we trust you? Rosa's voice pierced through the tension, assertive yet trembling. The figure's eyes glinted with a strange mix of compassion and urgency. Because I've seen what you seek, they replied, stepping forward into the flickering moonlight. Their features became clearer, a weathered face, deep lines that spoke of countless burdens and secrets held close. I can lead you to the truth about your mother, Tom. But you need to be ready for it. Emily shared a glance with Tom, her uncertainties reflected in her wide eyes. What truth? She asked, her voice steadier than Tom felt. How do we know you even have the right answers? The figure held out their hand, palm open, revealing a small, crumpled photograph. I took this the night your mother disappeared, they said, hesitant yet determined. I didn't mean to pry into your family's life, but I couldn't just forget. Tom stepped closer, reaching for the photograph. As he unfolded it, a jolt of recognition surged through him. It depicted a younger version of his mother, laughing heartily, a sparkle in her eyes, an image caught in a moment of pure joy. Next to her stood a man he didn't recognize, a stranger with dark hair and an intensity to his gaze that felt unnerving. Who is he? Tom asked, looking up from the picture, dread bubbling in his throat. The figure sighed, the ghost of sorrow flickering across their face. He's important. But there's more you need to hear first. Tom felt his stomach drop, the weight of it nearly choking him. What do you know about the night she left? They were here, in this very clearing, the figure said, gesturing vaguely into the darkness. Something was awry. I witnessed the confrontation between her and that man. He didn't want her to go, and I think she was afraid. A tense silence enveloped them all as the implications sank in. Emily shook her head slowly. That doesn't add up. She would never just leave me. People do strange things when they're scared, the figure said gently, their voice lowering. But it's not just about what happened that night. It's about why she felt she had to make those choices. Tom locked eyes with the figure, searching for any hint of deception. What can you possibly tell us that will make this any clearer? Follow me, and I'll show you the place where it all began, where her story took a turn we never anticipated. Rosa squeezed Tom's arm, urging him to consider the offer. It felt like a leap into the unknown, but his mother's image, vibrant and so painfully alive in that photograph, demanded his attention. Do we really have any other choice? Tom wondered aloud, the question more for himself than anyone else. After a moment of hesitation, Rosa nodded. If this can give us answers, we owe it to her to at least try. The figure turned, starting down another darkened path, and Tom didn't hesitate. The uncertainty gnawed at him, but the need for answers roared stronger than the fear. He moved, his legs powered by a mix of panic and determination, with Emily and Rosa right behind him. As they followed the figure into the shadows, the forest seemed to exhale, tension cracking like ice beneath their feet. What lay ahead? Revelation? Danger? Hope? Just remember, the figure cast over their shoulder, some truths are harder to bear than others. Tom's heart pounded louder, the weight of those words heavy against the chilling breeze. Would the truth help heal the wounds of the past, or would it open new scars? And as they ventured deeper, the trees loomed closer together, shadows embracing them with an almost sinister intimacy, reminding him that every step forward might lead them to a new kind of reckoning. What awaited them in the unknown? In the distance, the sound of rushing water echoed, pulling Tom forward with a blend of fear and anticipation. The deeper they went, the more questions blossomed like wildflowers in the dark. Would he be ready for what he might find? And at that moment, under the watchful eyes of the universe, the real journey began. The path wound tighter, trees interlocking above them like fingers gripping a mystery. Tom could hear the water now, a steady rush that echoed with urgency, as if it knew they were on the brink of something monumental. Each step felt heavier, like the weight of every unanswered question was pulling him down. Do you ever wonder if we're making a mistake? Emily asked quietly, her voice trembling as much as the branches trembling above them. Tom glanced back at her, the flickering light of uncertainty dancing in her eyes, a mirror to his own worries. I can't let fear stop us. We need to know, especially for her. The conviction in his words felt weak. Could they really face whatever truth lay ahead? Rosa nudged Tom forward, determination hardening her features. I trust you, Tom. Let South just stay close. The figure turned slightly, glancing back with a knowing look, as they continued deeper into the woods. Stay alert. The answers may come with shadows of their own. Tom's heart raced. The man he didn't recognize deepened everything, the confrontation, the fear his mother had felt. Memories of her gentle laugh blended with dread. Why had she felt cornered? The rushing stream rose in volume as they approached a clearing. Trees opened up to reveal a small waterfall spilling into a rocky basin, moonlight dancing off the water's surface, casting shimmering reflections that felt almost ethereal. Standing beneath the fountain was a flat, smooth stone, and on it lay something glinting under the moonlight, something that didn't belong. What is that? Emily asked, her curiosity bubbling over as they stepped closer. Tom's stomach knotted tighter. I don't know. The figure paused, surveying the scene. This is where it began. They stepped forward, reaching down to retrieve the object from the stone. Tom's breath hitched. The figure carefully turned around, revealing a silver locket adorned with intricate carvings that matched the one his mother used to wear. I found it here the night she left. Why did you keep it? He shot back, a mixture of anger and fear coursing through his veins. You knew, didn't you? I didn't know the whole story, the figure replied, an edge of regret creeping into their voice. But I knew she needed someone to see her truth. What truth? Tom pressed, desperate for clarity, the tension of the moment swelling. The figure opened the locket to reveal a tiny photograph, his mother with a different family, a baby nestled in her arm, radiant and happy. You weren't the only ones she loved. You weren't the only ones she had to protect. Reality crashed into Tom, the weight of betrayal and confusion threatening to drown him in the moonlit basin. What are you saying? Who is that? Tears stung his eyes, and he could feel the ground shifting beneath him. It was one thing to search for answers, but another to unearth family secrets that felt too deep to process. Rosa squeezed his arm, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Tom, this might not be what it seems." But the figure nodded solemnly. "It is exactly what it seems. And the truth doesn't always fit neatly into our stories." The waterfall roared louder, drowning out their thoughts as Tom stood frozen, the weight of revelations pressing against his chest. How could his mother, his sweet, caring mother, hold secrets this profound? "I need answers," he shouted over the water, his voice cracking. Who was she really? The figure studied him for a long moment, and Tom felt the air thicken with every heartbeat. To understand her, you must also understand the man in the photograph. And just like that, the path of their exploration opened wider, unveiling more than Tom had bargained for. The journey hadn't just been about finding his mother, it was about understanding a legacy larger than himself, a swirling mess of love, sacrifice, and choices made in desperation. As they stepped back from the waterfall, the figure turned toward the deeper shadows of the woods. "There's more to this story. Follow me." Tom hesitated, grappling with everything that had just unraveled. Was he ready to confront even more hidden truths? As they followed the figure into the shadows once again, Tom wondered, how deep did this rabbit hole go? Did knowing the truth mean unearthing a darkness he'd never expected? Would he remain whole after this journey, or lose more than he'd ever dreamed? The shadows closed around them as they trudged deeper into the woods, the silence pressing down like an unseen weight. Tom's heart thudded in his chest, a relentless drumbeat urging him forward. Emily and Rosa were close behind, their footsteps echoing his anxious thoughts. Who was that man? Emily finally dared to ask, her voice barely a whisper, as if the trees themselves might hear her. "He's tied to this, whatever it is," Tom replied, wresting control over his fear. "And I think he might know more about my mom than we do." "Do we really want to know?" Rosa's tone held a note of caution, as she scanned the dense foliage. "What if it's worse than we think?" Tom felt a swell of frustration. "We can't keep running from this. She deserves to be understood." Suddenly, the figure stopped, turning to face them. The moonlight revealed his features more clearly, a rugged face etched with years of secrets and pain. "You're right to seek answers. But remember, knowledge has a cost. Sometimes, it can tear you apart." Tom swallowed hard. He could feel the gravity of those words sinking in, but there was no turning back now. "Show us," he demanded, his voice stronger than he felt. "We need to know the whole story." With a resigned nod, the figure led them further into the underbrush until they reached another clearing. This one was less bright, shadows twisting into unsettling shapes. In the middle stood an old oak, its twisted roots sprawling across the ground like tentacles grasping at buried memories. "Here," he said, gesturing to the base of the tree. "Sit. You need to hear this." Tom and the girls exchanged uncertain glances before settling onto the cool, damp earth. "There was a time," the figure began, his voice low and steady, "when your mother was scared. Scared of who she was, who she had to run away from. That photograph you saw, it wasn't just a life she left behind. It was a choice." "What kind of choice?" Tom pressed. Anger flickered inside him, mingling with the dread that had been growing since they stepped into the woods. A choice between love and duty, between her heart and the chains of her past. The figure's eyes glistened in the dim light. "She didn't just disappear, she sacrificed everything to protect you." "It's not fair," Rosa said, her voice breaking. "Why didn't she tell us? Why keep us in the dark?" "Because sometimes, the truth is too hard to bear." Tom's chest tightened. "But we're not her. We deserve to know." The figure's gaze softened. "And you will. But you first need to come to terms with the man in the photograph. He carries a truth that might shatter everything you know." Who is he? Tom asked, desperation cracking through his tough exterior. Why should I care? He's the man who loved your mother in a way you cannot understand yet. The kind of love that doesn't fade with distance or time. But it's also a love that created this rift between her past and her new life. Tom felt his head spin. Love? Was that what made her leave? The thought sank down like a stone in a still pond, rippling around the corners of his mind. A flock of birds suddenly took flight, breaking the uneasy silence with a cacophony of wings flapping high above. Let us go back, Emily said quietly, fear creeping back into her voice. Maybe we should just forget this, but Tom shook his head, his resolve hardening. No. If my mom loved another life enough to walk away, then I have to know why. This is bigger than all of us. The figure stepped back, allowing Tom space to stand. Then we must venture to the heart of this tale. The answers lie just beyond the horizon. Tom looked at his friends, their faces a mix of support and fear. The uncertainty hung over them like the thick fog curling around the trees. Despite everything, he felt a spark of determination ignite within him. As they stood together, the woods swirling with unanswered questions, he could sense that the next step was even deeper into the unknown. Are you ready? The figure asked, a glint of intensity in his eyes. Tom wasn't sure if he was ready, but one thing was clear, the truth was waiting. And he was about to find it, no matter where it led. With one final breath, he stepped forward into the shadows, knowing he might uncover more than he ever intended. How could you face a truth that could change everything you thought you knew? The air felt crisp and electric as Tom and the women stepped forward into the heart of the woods. Every rustle of leaves felt charged with anxiety and anticipation. The figure led them deeper, pausing occasionally to check their reactions. With every step, the trembling uncertainty wrapped tighter around Tom. Are we really ready for this? He thought. But no, he couldn't turn back. He had to uncover what had shaped his mother's choices and, in turn, his own life. At last, they reached an ancient clearing where a gnarled tree stood a sentinel of their family's secrets. The moonlight poured down, illuminating the ground strewn with fallen leaves. The figure gestured toward the tree's massive base as if it harbored answers. Here is where her journey changed, he spoke, his voice steady, yet heavy with emotion. Your mother found both love and fear. A man who cherished her, yet placed her in danger. The words hung in the air, echoing with infinite possibilities. What do you mean? Was he the reason she left? Tom's voice was sharp, pressing for clarity amidst the swirling fog of emotion. Yes, the figure replied, his eyes steady on Tom's. But it's not simply about love, it's about sacrifice. To protect you, she had to make that decision. Emily placed a hand on Tom's arm, her fingers trembling. We need to know everything. If there's more to this, we can't walk away. The figure nodded, understanding pouring through the tension. Very well. Your mother's choices were bound by duty to her heart and family. She loved deeply, and that love drew shadows around her. The man in that photograph, he was not simply an admirer. He was part of a world she desperately tried to escape. As he spoke, a deep sadness washed over Tom. It resonated with a familiarity that was chilling. What did he want with her? He interjected, fighting back a surge of anger. Freedom, but he held dark secrets too. Secrets that could harm your family. She made a choice to protect you from the repercussions of those secrets. A choice you must confront now. Tom felt the pieces beginning to fit, like a jigsaw puzzle revealing an entirely new picture. But he also felt the weight of that puzzle crash into him. What if this opened wounds too deep to heal? Are you ready to face what lies within? The figure asked, searching Tom's eyes for a flicker of resolve. He took a long inhale, grounding himself amidst the torrent of emotions swirling inside him. Yes. I need to understand. We all need to, for her sake. They approached the tree, feeling its age and strength resonate against their skin. Suddenly, from behind the roots, a small, weathered box emerged, a tangible anchor to the past. The figure reached for it, opening it slowly to reveal old letters, faded and fragile. "These belong to your mother," he said gently, handing them to Tom. Tom's hands trembled as he took the letters, the familiar scent of nostalgia wafting from the worn paper. He began to read, each word unraveling a deeper truth. Lament, love, fears, and dreams spilled forth like spilled milk, messy, regrettable, yet filled with life. As Tom read, visions of his mother filled his mind, her laughter, her scent, the warmth of her hugs. Tears pricked at his eyes, understanding painting a complex portrait of her. She was not just a mother, but a woman who carried the weight of her decisions quietly. Suddenly, a soft hand rested on his shoulder. It was Rosa, her presence a sturdy reminder of the love they had forged. "She fought for you, Tom. This doesn't change that," she whispered, her tone laced with reassurance. Emily's voice broke through the haze. "Tom, she loved you fiercely. This only tells how much she cared." Tom pointed to a letter. "She said she had to let go of the past to save us. To save me. I never knew it was so complicated." The figure nodded, a hint of pride in his eyes. "You've begun to grasp her truth. But there's more to unravel. You must speak to him," the man from the photograph. "He knows her secrets and may help you understand." "Where do we find him?" Tom asked, determination lining his voice. "Follow the path west. From here. You'll find him." "Remember," the figure paused, "truth can hurt, but it also has the power to heal." With a deep breath, Tom clutched the letters to his chest, looking to Emily and Rosa. "Are we ready?" They nodded, bonds forged anew amidst the uncertainty. "Together," Emily affirmed softly. Together, they began walking, the path now drenched in courage and resolve. Moments later, they found themselves standing at a small cabin, shrouded in silence, a lingering mystery waiting to be confronted. Tom raised his fist to the door, heart hammering in his chest. This was it. As he knocked, each thud echoed with the urgency of connection awaited. The door creaked open slowly, and there stood a man with the same dark hair, the man who had loved and lost, the key to unlocking the final chapters of their story. Who are you?" The man's voice trembled, confusion swirling. Tom opened his mouth, words escaping him as knowings washed over his heart. "We're here to understand." At that moment, they stepped deeper into the tangled web of their shared past, ready to pull it apart thread by thread, to heal not only themselves but the legacy left behind. And there, in the lingering shadows of the evening, their journey of truth was finally set in motion. This was the moment of transformation. They were no longer searching for the past, they were embracing it, stepping forward into the light of understanding. In that embrace, they were finally home. Now, more than ever, it's vital you share this story with others who may need it, who may recognize themselves in these struggles. Support the channel. You need to subscribe now so that you never miss a story like this. Leave a like immediately because it fuels the energy to keep bringing you powerful tales like this one. Comment below your feelings about this riveting conclusion. Your words are the lifeblood of our community. And don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with 5 friends who need to see this transformation today. Your voice matters. Let us keep this journey going together.